I'm Lucy and I'm the gardener here at the barn. I've been here for about 5 years now, which is a long time. I think I first got into gardening through my family. So my mum and my granddad were really keen gardeners, and I remember growing carrots with my mum and dad when I was 3 in the allotment. And yeah, I mean, then when I was a teenager I totally went off it and thought it was the stupidest thing in the world. And then when I went to university, I started helping out on a permaculture allotment and a forest garden, and just got totally hooked from there. At the barn, retreatants help out 4 days a week in the garden in the morning, and it would just be, they're so vital to the garden because we just wouldn't be able to do it without them. I think it's a really nice kind of cyclical nature of how things work, because we harvest vegetables like all year round from the garden, and it's eaten by the retreatants, but the work's already been put on by retreatants in the past, and then the work that you're doing in the garden is feeding future retreatants. And I think this kind of ongoing cycle is really quite beautiful. The philosophy behind the barn garden is trying to keep as close to nature and nature's patterns as possible. So, for example, around the garden here we have a lot of wild spaces, and it really helps to maintain a really resilient ecosystem. So we've got loads of really cool wildlife here. So we've got slowworms, and we've got frogs, and we've got toads, and we've always got buzzards circling overhead. And so we don't really ever have to use we never use any pesticides on things like slugs, just because they're not such a big problem, because we've got all of these other creatures that like to feast on them. So I think it's all about balance. And we also we try to look after our soils as best we can. So that might be not disturbing them too much, so we don't do a lot of digging. We treat them to lots of lovely organic matter from the barn. So we get it from all the way around the barn grounds. So we use compost from the kitchen waste from the kitchen, and we use leaf litter that we sweep up every autumn, and wood chip as well from our wood station. The other philosophy, kind of going alongside the working as nature, is kind of like working with retreatants as well. And I think that is such an important part of the garden, that is actually just as important that people who come on retreat here kind of have that experience of nature connection, and have a really positive experience of being outside, working with the land. So I think it's just as important as like producing vegetables for the kitchen is that kind of emphasis on people care as well. So we always make sure that there's that the garden is accessible to all retreatants. So just making sure that we've always got jobs of different energy levels and suiting different abilities as well. Gardening mindfully, I think, can be really beneficial for lots of people, and it's something that I've really witnessed in myself and also in the retreatants that come to the barn. So there have been periods of my life where I've been suffering from things like anxiety, and actually being in a garden working alongside other people have been, one of the things that have really helped me through those periods. And I see it with other people as well. So people coming on retreat and like spending this time of kind of quiet work time outside, being just immersed by like the beautiful landscape around us, and the sounds of the nature, and even just kind of having your hands in the soil and kind of getting into this really kind of flow of work. And I can really see that it has this really calming effect on people. And I think also working alongside other people, sometimes when you've kind of, you might want to talk about stuff, but actually it's a bit intimidating of it. You're kind of doing it face to face, and actually having someone just beside you, and you're both working, you're both kind of doing a job, but sometimes I've found that that people really open up to each other a lot more in the garden than they might in other spaces. So yeah, I think it's so many benefits to gardening.